Have you ever thought of the power of the love of a dog for his master? Think about it. A beast who dedicates his life to protect those he loves, even in the face of the dangers of the scariest. This is a story that will touch your heart and to show that the loyalty of a truly knows no bounds. This is a pregnant woman walking quietly on a quiet side street, accompanied by her faithful companion in all four of its legs. She trusts at the moment of the peace, and enjoying the company of your furry friend, you seem to understand the weight that it carries, not only because of the baby she expected, but it is also the responsibility of taking care of someone who is so vulnerable. Have you ever gone through a situation where they felt safe in the hand of the one who loves you? The feeling of protection that it gives you the strength to go on? Well, this is the story we will tell now is about exactly that. About the courage comes in the most unexpected way, when everything seems to be under control, and all of a sudden, a threat appears out of nowhere. Stay with me until the very end, because that's all you're going to find out now. You will be surprised. The bravery of a dog who, even in the presence of an at-risk situation, you do not have to think twice before you put them in between his own and the moment of danger. The scene takes place in an instant, almost like an action movie, where the fear and the courage to face off in a battle of a culture. You are going to feel the emotions when you see how the instinct of self-protection talks at the moment of crisis. And even though the ending is full of suspense, and the story also reveals the true essence of unconditional love that only dogs are able to prove it, get ready to immerse yourself in the narrative is exciting, because it shows that sometimes the real-life superheroes that appear in all four of its legs and with a giant heart. And in the end, you will definitely think about what it really is loyalty and who are true friends in our life. If you can identify with this story, or her heart warmed by this statement as pure love and loyalty, leave in the comments what else you've played. Share your experience or opinion. This is a wonderful way to strengthen our community, where we learn from each other and celebrating the small, the large stalks that make all the difference. And of course, if this content made you feel the emotions, or to reflect on, don't forget to like the video, for this simple approach helps the channel to continue bringing you stories that touch the heart and to spread this message of hope and connection. If you want to stay up to date with more stories like this, and in fact, subscribe to the channel. Your participation is what makes all of this happen to you, allowing you to let more people know about the power of true love and the loyalty that's often overlooked in the rush of day-to-day. Here, we believe that each and every gesture of affection, you have a giant impact, and that his presence encourages us to continue sharing those special moments in life. So, keep with us. There is still a lot of amazing stories to explore the emotions and to live together. Right now, I want you to go deeper in the subject line, because that is the truth of it, is that, too often, to the transformation that we seek, it starts exactly at the point where we've decided to look beyond the surface, beyond the obvious. It is at this point that our way of thinking and begin to form, and the decisions we make are not merely reactions to automatic, for they become actions, aware of the fact that they have an impact on the whole of the journey. When we understand this, we realize that our true strength lies in the ability to see the invisible thing, the thing that is hidden under the surface. It's the small actions that don't always seem to have an immediate effect, but which in fact lead to a powerful current of change. A central question is, in our desire to find the truth hidden behind the people, events, and even ourselves. Many of the times, the daily routine and keep you from seeing the emotions themselves, their dreams crushed, or the fears that lie hidden in the shadows. And right there is where the transformation begins, when you decide to immerse yourself in the behind the scenes of our own history and experiencing the things that we avoid. This is a journey that requires courage, open-minded, and a provision is earnest to learn from our own mistakes. As you explore such scenes built, we begin to understand that true strength is not in perfection, but in the authenticity of accepting who we are today, with all our imperfections. The revelation may seem simple, but it is the basis for a profound change, one that goes far beyond the superficial. When we pause to reflect on our decision-making, we've realized that they don't happen by accident. Every choice, every action is an expression of our state of mind, our beliefs, and the impact we want to have on the world around us. From this perspective, self-awareness, it becomes a powerful tool that can transform our reality and helps us create a life that is aligned with our deepest values. And so, to understand the impact of our decisions, we can start to work with more intention. As a victim of circumstances, but as a protagonist of our own story. This is a change of mindset, as it is a silent revolution that is happening from the inside to the outside, where each and every small victory, every step forward for the purpose, it strengthens our self-confidence and broadens our view of the world. In the process, behind the scenes no longer be hidden, and it will be a space for learning and growth, and is a great source of revelation in the drive to move forward, even when the way seems difficult and full of obstacles. When you go deeper in these aspects, we see that our journey is not just about achieving external goals, but to transform our inner selves. And this change is a direct result of our ability to see beyond the surface and acknowledge hidden truths that are often right in front of our eyes, but we can only realize when we are truly aware of what is going on inside of us. It is at this point that everything changes. changes, and that our choices have become more aware of our actions are aligned with our goals, and the impact that we make on the world if it makes it all the more significant. That is why it is so important to nurture this mindset of discovery, curiosity, and the constant behind the scenes of your life, because that's where the revelations of the deepest place. Every experience, no matter how simple it may seem, it carries a lesson that you can change the way we see the world and ourselves. And in doing so, we create a connection that's more true to what really matters to you, raising an inner strength, capable of boosting our progress on an ongoing basis. It is a process of self-discovery that never ends, because at each time step, new truths will come to you, new horizons are opening up, and it's our history. It is a unique work of art, shaped by our own hands. And so, we go forward knowing this, that the essence of the transformation is the courage to face what you are hiding, in the eagerness to learn and determination to make a difference. Each made a conscious decision, each of the insight revealed to him. It is a critical piece in the puzzle that makes up our true selves. And then, even in moments of doubt, when everything is uncertain, and our greatest strength lies in the knowledge that you are on the right track, because we are willing to look beyond the obvious and discover the truth that has always been there, waiting to be revealed to you. If you have managed to capture the essence, you may already be beginning to understand how these findings can transform your career, opening doors which before seemed to be closed, and gave a new meaning to your actions every day. After all, it is the impact that extends far beyond the words. It is there, in our way of life, our disposition toward the world, and how we inspire those around us. And, at this point, it is the reflection, which is close to the truth it hides who you are. Are you willing to find out? Is that this journey of transformation continues to change the way that amazing? He comments that, it makes no sense to me. Right now, I want you to go deeper in the subject line, because that's the true transformation happens when we begin to understand that the actions that we take in every day, not only making fleeting, but a reflection of a mindset that has been shaped over time. Many people don't realize how their belief that they carry, and often unconscious, influencing each and every step they take, every choice that you make. It's as if an invisible force was there, whispering in your ear, you are not able to, or it's not for you. And it is only when we are able to identify the voice inside is what we set out to build a new narrative, one that truly reflects who we are or who we wish to become. This is a journey of self-discovery, however, is not a linear path. It is filled with lots of discoveries and moments of doubt, and, in particular, the revelation that will challenge everything you have always accepted it as the truth. And it is precisely at this point that you realize just how much of our daily decisions, no matter how simple they may seem, have a major impact on our development. Each of you choose to stay in the comfort zone each and every thought of as a limited, supplies a kind of a circuit is affected, which prevents us from reaching the next level. But, at the same time, it is when we begin to question those old beliefs and replace negative thoughts with statements of value and potential for, we can begin to open up the space for true transformation, one that goes beyond the surface. The big key is awareness. When we become aware of that it really is limited, and this is where revelation hides many of the times, it is hidden under the appearance of normal. We were able to make the decisive move. In this revelation, that is, our emotions, our past experiences, the decisions that we make, to write here, this is a kind of script that I can write back. And in doing so, we begin to understand that our reality is shaped by a series of small choices that added together to create a profound impact on our way. This is how a chain of events that, if understood and handled with care, it can lead to a paradigm shift, a revolution on the inside. And when you think about all of this, it is clear that the transformation does not come from a single attitude, but is a continuum of choices that are aligned with this. In mind, we're under construction. Every day is an opportunity to reaffirm it, to strengthen it. The potential is limitless. That is, the constraints that appear to be so obvious, many times they are just stories we tell ourselves, of course. And yes, this is a journey of self-discovery, courage to face your own hidden truths, and of the courage to give up old patterns and embrace the unknown with hope and determination. For this reason, each and every step of this journey, it is clear that the impact of all of the things that we believe in, and we are going far beyond what we could ever imagine. It influences not only our lives, but also the impact that we make on the world around us and those that we can observe and learn from one of our courage to move forward. And in the process, we begin to understand that the real power is in knowing that we are the authors of our own stories, that are capable of rewriting the script at any time, as long as we're willing to explore the deepest levels of our being. He comments that, it makes no sense to me, and let me know which one was the revelation is more shocking than you've ever had to think about their own beliefs. Right now, I want you to go deeper in the subject line, because that is the journey of transformation is not restricted only to the understanding of surface, of which we are the authors of our story. In fact, it's an immersion into the roots are hidden in our decisions, our emotions, and above all, we believe the most deep-rooted. Many of the times, we believe that we have changed the fact we were able to change one's behavior or achieve a new routine. But the real change is to happen long before that, in the long unseen, that shape who we are, from the inside out. It's as as if you're carrying a backpack that is invisible to the stories, fears, expectations, and constraints that often don't even realize that we have. And it's at that point that comes to the question of the truth that is hidden, that which is hidden in the subconscious, often fueled by the experiences of the past, or by a belief system that has been imposed since early childhood. As you explore such scenes, built in, you start to realize that so many of our reactions and our decisions are automatic, and are linked to this invisible world that we have. And the big revelation is that in order to truly transform our reality, we must first do a detailed inspection in the internal space of the house. This is the part where it comes to the concept of mindset, and that it is not just a buzzword, but it is a true key to unlocking the potential that exists within each and every one of us. The mind, in this context, it acts as a filter to interpret every situation, every obstacle, every success or failure, and to shape our actions, and, as a result, the impact that we make on the world around us. For this reason, it is crucial to understand that our most important decisions are not made solely with the head of a rational, but our emotional mind and the subconscious. There are the truths that are hidden, often in disguise with a layer of rationalizations, which we from time to time. And at the same time, these same truths can be the greatest source of freedom, because when you bring them to the surface, you have the power to rewrite them, to give a new meaning to our experiences, and thus creating a new reality that is in alignment with who you truly are at the very core of our being. It is like a portal to transformation, because it shows that we are not victims of our circumstances, but the authors are aware of a story that you can edit it at any time. And this year starts off just the courage to face what they have avoided, in contrast to our own truth, the more uncomfortable they may seem. It is one of courage and a daily small decisions that, together, they build a narrative and closer to the truth, which is lighter and more in tune with our inner selves. And, in this way, every insight, every revelation, it works like a step in the ladder of evolution, which leads to a level of understanding and a deeper insight into who we are and what is the real impact we can make to our daily lives. And it is at this point that I see it as a journey of transformation. That is, in fact, it is a journey of self-discovery, continuous. The more you explore the inner layers, the more we discover that the real power lies in our ability to choose what to keep, what to discard, and which to rewrite. For each decision, each new set of beliefs that we have adopted, it is a stone that is put on the construction of the self. And in doing so, we begin to realize that our history is not written in stone, but in our own hands, at the present time, with the freedom to create a story that truly reflects the core of who we care. Because of this, the big reveal is that the impact of our transformation is so much greater than we can imagine. It reverberates in our everyday actions, in our relationships, in the way we see the world, and above all, of our ability to have a positive impact on everything around us. And then, when that is understood, we realize that with each step taken in the direction of the move is like a seed planted in the fertile ground of your mind and in your heart, I hope, in time, to flourish in a new place, more in line with the fact that it's always been inside of us, just waiting for the right moment to break out with force and clarity. Now, I want you to think for a moment about what that might have been lurking in your mind, in your soul, like a truth hidden. It can be either a belief in limitation, of a hope, forgotten, or emotions that you tried to hide it, for fear of facing up to it. The important thing is to recognize that all of this is part of your path, and that by exposing these truths, you take an important step in your journey of self-discovery and transformation. Because after all, the greatest freedom is born out of the courage to open the internal doors and let in the light to the darkest corners of your being. And when that happens, everything around her begins to change in ways that you would never have imagined to be possible. Right now, I want you to go deeper in the subject line, because that's the true transformation doesn't just happen on the surface. It manifests itself in layers, the innermost of one's mind and heart. And this is where many of the times we find the strength, because of opening those doors to inner courage, a willingness to face up to the truths that a lot of times we would prefer to conceal. It is as if, for the rest of our lives, to create a mask in order to protect our own vulnerability, our own doubts and fears, more intimate, and it is only when we decide to tear it up, is that we can begin to understand who we really are behind the scenes. This is a journey of discovery that is without a doubt one of the most challenging, but also the most liberating. When you dive into this process, we began to realize that many of our limitations are those who seem to be so final. In fact, are constructs of the mind that we can debunk you with a conscious effort. It's as if you were cleaning a lens, blurry, which always distorts our view, to reveal the reality in a more clear and real. At this point, your mind opens up to new possibilities and new resolutions that before would have seemed impossible or too far. With the freedom to choose a different path, leaving the old standard, which does not serve us anymore, comes as a revelation to be silent, a fact hidden that it is there, just waiting to be discovered. On the basis of this understanding, it all gets a whole new dimension. Every decision we make, from the simplest to the most complex, there shall reflect in not only a desire to last long, but it's a much deeper connection with who you really are. And it is this connection that gives us the strength to face the obstacles in a different position, more aware, more in tune with our inner selves. It's as if, when you understand the roots of what limits us, we are also a food that is more beautiful and true within ourselves, and creating a new narrative to life. This is a narrative that is made up of choices, from the steps of the small but tough, which lead to a continuous transformation. Of course, this journey is not linear. It has its ups and downs, moments of doubt and crisis, because it is in this movement that we really come to terms with our own shadows. And it is here that the impact of such a change becomes more and more apparent. When we are able to face those parts of us we prefer to hide from, in a sort of relief that comes a feeling of lightness that I never had experienced before. This lightweight is the result of a process of internal liberation, a kind of healing that happens when we give space to the authenticity of the bloom. And when you do that, you start to realize that the impact of this change is beyond us, also affecting the people around us, who go on to experience a new life in the US. This deeper understanding will also reveal all the behind the scenes of our mind, the development of mechanisms that prevent us from moving forward with the limiting belief that often don't even realize that they are there, hidden in the details of our daily lives. To reveal this hidden truth requires a certain courage, but also with curiosity. After all, how much more will we allow ourselves to build on those behind the scenes? The more allies we meet on our journey, people who have gone through something like that, and you can provide us with valuable insights. This is the exchange of experience that we have strengthened our way of thinking and processing, creating an invisible network of support that drives us forward, even when everything seems to be too difficult for you. As I reflect back on those behind the scenes, we have realized that real change requires a provision to learn to let go of long-held beliefs, to revisit our priorities and values. And this is the one that ensures that we do not become victims of our own limitations, but we are the protagonists of a story of growing up. With each step taken in this sense, it is a revelation and a confirmation that you are on the right track, even if the journey is full of turns and obstacles. After all, it is the overcoming of these obstacles we can find the best lessons, the ones that shape our way of thinking in a way that none of the external theory could be taught. And with each revelation, we are brought closer to a version of ourselves that we were unaware of, one that is stronger, more aware, more in tune with the truth. To understand this, one thing is clear. It is true transformation is not a one-off event. It is a continuous journey of self-discovery and courage. And in the process, every discovery, every decision you make in the direction of our growth, and strengthens our ability to positively impact not only our lives, but also for those around us. Thus, the real power lies in our willingness to face our own truths, and to turn our limitations into opportunities, and to continue moving forward with the assurance that each step brings us closer to a fuller life and to desires. And if you think about all of this, the question that remains is, what's next, Revelation? So that you can turn your story from the inside to the outside. He comments that it makes no sense to me. I now want to go more in depth on this topic and to explore as many of the times, and the journey of transformation begins with just those small decisions that seem to be insignificant, but it carries a great potential for impact. It is as if the choice every day to be like a seed planted in the soil of our minds, and the outcome of this plantation, it depends on the attention we give to every detail. Have you ever noticed how the way we interpret those events that wraps fully to your response, and consequently, in our own way? The same situation can be perceived in two different ways. One like an insurmountable obstacle, which causes us to back up, or as an opportunity for growth, what drives us forward. In this reflection, it is important to understand that this is a change of perspective. It doesn't just happen overnight, it is a building on the daily, as a kind of a routine of self-discovery that will go even further as we explore our own stories, our emotions, and our limits. And then comes the big reveal. So many times, it's the true transformation comes when we allow ourselves to question what we have always accepted it as the truth. You may be charged an idea of that it is not able to do the things that you really want it, or that the truth is something far away and out of reach. This kind of faith, if you make it like the invisible walls that limit your potential, and you just make room for a scaled-down version of who you can be. From the moment we begin to break down these beliefs is that a new perspective emerges. It's as if the curtain was opened to a wider stage, and where all possibilities have multiplied, and your confidence goes to save space. But here's the thing, this is a change of mindset is about having the courage, but because it challenges the status quo of their routine and their certainty and even their insecurities in the most profound. And it is at this point that a lot of people give up is because they prefer to stay in your comfort zone, even though they know that it limits their growth. However, those who really want a true transformation, you need to understand that the first step is always the built-in, a decision to look inward and to question the things that has been built up over time. And it is this decision that reveals the truths that are hidden from those who often prefer to ignore it, because it is a challenge to abandon the narrative of what we have created for ourselves. When we hold these truths to be a kind of discomfort is inevitable, arises out of, but at the same time it opens the door to greater freedom. The freedom to be who we really are, to take our own imperfections, and accept that change is a continuous journey with no end point is defined. During this time, we have learned that the power is not to avoid all the obstacles, but as we see each and every one of them with the courage, resilience, and above all, open-minded to the new one. If you think about it, a question arises naturally. What is the next revelation? One insight that can transform your entire history, and it can set you free from the limitations of which I did not even did you know who was. It can be either a consciousness of itself, a decision to do things differently, or in a more in-depth understanding of the impact that their words and actions have on the way. Each and every one of those revelations that acts as a catalyst for a turning point, which, if properly used, it could open the door to a true transformation and in a lasting way. After all, the key is to recognize that the power to change, it's always been inside of you. Your willingness to face the truth and move on, even in the face of the unknown. And it is at this point that the universe begins to conspire in favor of those who decide to take the next step with courage. After all, every transformation begins with the decision to be a different kind of challenge to what you are comfortable with and embrace the uncertainty with the hope and confidence. This is the culmination of a journey of growth and genuine. You understand that each day is an opportunity to reinvent ourselves, to discover new aspects of yourself, and to build up a story more in line with what we believe and value. And then, when you do this, you will come to understand that true strength lies in its willingness to evolve, to learn from mistakes, and keep your focus on your own the truth, even when it seems difficult to accept. He comments that, "It makes no sense to me. Right now, I want you to go deeper in the subject line, because that is the transformation that you are looking for is not just a matter of outward actions or changes to the surface, but it is a real revolution in the home that begins with the way we see the world and the people around us. And of course, we are the same." This is a journey of self-discovery reveals the layers often remain hidden to the person who carries it, for fear, for doubt, or for a routine to just erase all of our experiences. And it is precisely at this point that the real revelation is this: when you stop to think about our own decisions and about the stories we tell and the truths of which we are living, even if they don't make a lot of sense. It is common, that is, along the way, we are met with obstacles that seem bigger than you can handle. In these moments, the strength is not the absence of trouble, but the ability to face them with courage and honesty. After all, every challenge is a hidden message and an opportunity to learn something new about who we are, in fact. Many of the times, it is the resistance that we feel in the face of certain situations, and this is, in fact, it is a sign that there is a lie or a limitation in that we are still carrying on without realizing it. It can be a belief that is stopping us from moving forward, a question that is transformed into the fear or expectation, which does not agree more with the reality. In the process of self-discovery, it is important to recognize that the transformation did not happen all at one time to the next. It is an ongoing process, which requires patience, dedication, and a healthy dose of honesty with yourself. Along the way, and that works just the same, it's the willingness to look within, to question our own choices, and accept that sometimes the biggest change comes from the inside out. When you can't do this to the movement of reflection, we opened up the space for new possibilities, ideas, and before seemed to be far away or unattainable becomes apparent, and your mind is aligned with the new vision of the future. The revelations come at this time of the insights that have the power to change our entire outlook. They can be used as a mirror which reflects not only who we are, but who we can become if we choose to follow the path of true progress. It is as if each and every layer of strength that we were able to remove it with a door that opens up to a whole world of possibilities, and where our actions will no longer be automatic, and you will be more informed, choices are made from the most in-depth. In this connection, the core of it is what really drives the changes are long-lasting, but not limited to, a cycle of trial and error, but if you remain a part of who we are. And in the process, we realize that many of our limitations are, in fact, the constructions of the mind that we learn from time to time. These beliefs have often been created by an outside influence, the people, the experiences, the culture, and they end up making the invisible barriers that make it difficult for the freedom to be who you really want to do. The big question is, how do you break through these walls without losing its essence? As we continue to grow without the pressure to please others or to fit into a pattern of social causes us to forget who we are for real. These questions are at the heart of our quest for authenticity, and the answer can only come from a conscious decision to confront our own personal truths, the more uncomfortable they may be. To do this, we can begin to understand that true freedom comes from within, not from a mindset that values authenticity above all else. This shift in perspective raises an impact not only in our personal lives, but also in the way in which we relate to the world around us. When we act in alignment with who we really are, we become agents of change, able to inspire others to do the same to explore on their own journeys of self-discovery. And along the way, each and every step is a reaffirmation of that evolution is not a straight line, but the spiral of lifelong learning, where each and every attempt, every mistake, and every victory, contributing to the construction of a story in the most authentic and powerful way. It is at this point that we realize that the truth is hidden behind all this, is that real change begins with our willingness to embrace who we are, with all our imperfections, doubts, and possibilities. When we do this, and the impact on our lives is profound, because we no longer have the general narrative is that it limits us, and then we write a new chapter in its history, more in tune with our dreams, values, and purpose. It is the one that really gives us the strength to move forward even when the path seems uncertain or challenging. After all, it is the journey of transformation that is above all, a journey of courage, the desire to be true to yourself above all else. And then, as the new vision to strengthen our minds open to new possibilities and the impact on our lives, it becomes a source of inspiration for anyone who is on our side. Every little decision, every step of authenticity reinforces this change, and it creates a chain of change that goes beyond the individual, playing all around us. It's like a seed that, when planted, the courage to face your own truth and germinate in the fruit of freedom, happiness, and fulfillment. At that time, the day-to-day becomes a real revolution in the homeland, where each and every one of us happens to be the protagonist of their own story, with an open mind that the values of growth, authenticity, and connecting with what really matters to you. And so, as we think about all of this, it is clear that the search for the transformation that is, in the essence of a deep connection with ourself, the truest, is a standing invitation to revisit our own beliefs and decisions, all of which have the courage to keep going, even when your paths seem in the air. Because at the end of the day, the biggest revelation is that real change comes not from the outside in, but from an internal decision to reconnect you with the most pure. And in doing so, we understand that each and every step of this journey is an opportunity to come closer and closer to the person we truly want to be, living out a life reflective of all of our lives, freedom, purpose, and self-esteem. He comments that, "It makes no sense to me. Right now, I want you to go deeper in the subject line, because that is the truth hidden behind all of this change, is that too often we are caught up in a cycle of self-deception that keeps us from seeing who we really are. The company, expectations, routines, and patterns, you create a layer mask that is used as a defense, but it will also take us away from our true essence. And it is precisely at this point that the journey of self-discovery becomes a real revolution in the house. When we begin to question the layers, the decoupling of external opinions, and to listen to what actually touches the inside of us, the impact is staggering. It's as if the light will begin to shine a light on the dark corners of our soul and revealing the truths that were hidden for so long. In this process, a lot of the times we come across with a quiet strength, almost as if an inner voice that tries to convince us to stay in your comfort zone. This resistance arises from the fear from the face of the change, to give up the things that we are familiar with the family. It is a prison in disguise of security. It is at this point that a growth mindset and becomes an ally to powerful, because it teaches us that every challenge, every question is an opportunity to learn, every decision that we make. And in this sense, it brings us closer to our authenticity and to strengthen the courage to be who you truly are, without masks or justification. True transformation requires the courage to face your own shadows, acknowledging the fears, limitations, and even the things that we would prefer to deny it. When we allow ourselves to this honest reflection, we can begin to understand that history, with all its aches and pains and gains, it is the one that shapes us, but it does not define who we truly are. Freedom is the ability to choose each day who you want to be and how we want to live in it. This freedom is, in essence, it's a decision to align our actions with our inner selves. And that decision, no matter how simple it may seem, it has a profound impact on our way of processing. When you reconnect with your truth, you are able to see beyond the limitations that are imposed by the external world. You will begin to realize that what really matters is the connection that makes it vibrate with your dreams, warmest, with the goal that gives meaning to its existence. And in doing so, a new perspective emerges that happiness is not something that is achieved by chance or by an external factor, but it's a built-in, which is born out of a conscious decision. This is a change of mindset, is what drives us to create a more aligned, more fully, to where your every action reflects who we really are, without the need of a mask or a justification. This day also shows behind the scenes that often remain hidden to those who are not aware of. It's the small, everyday choices, and the thoughts of what we grow, and the emotions that feed it, and the choices we make about ourselves. The details, the seemingly small, have a huge impact on our development. For this reason, it is essential to be aware of the signs of internal messages that our bodies and our intuition we send to you. The more aligned we are with the truth, the easier it will be to tackle some of the obstacles, because they are no longer barriers, and they become opportunities for growth. Thus, the analysis becomes our greatest weapon, is the power that sustains all of us, even in the storms, the hardest. And it is at this point in the journey, the transformation and becomes a real eye-opener. Instead of searching for an external change in order to fill a feeling of emptiness, learn to look inside, to understand that everything we need is already within us. It frees us from the prison of the mental. It puts us in control of our own history, and to connect us to a larger force, and that is our essence is pure. When you embrace that truth, we can begin to live more lightly on the planet, with a goal and an authenticity that is definitely rubs off on the people around you. Now I want you to go go even deeper on this subject. Because of this connection with our essence, it also reveals a powerful truth about the impact that our choices can have on the world. When we align ourselves with who we really are, we begin to have a positive impact on the environment and our surroundings, inspire others to also pursue their authenticity. This is a journey of self-discovery becomes then a string of revelations, which is beyond the scope of an individual and becomes a force in the transformation of society. The truth is hidden, that is, that in turn are contributing to a broader impact beyond our own growth. This is one way to make a statement true in the world. And in the process, we realize that each and every decision, however small they may seem, carries with it the seed of change. It is these seeds that are grown with love and conscience. They will grow and multiply, creating a ripple effect of progress. This is the realization that we are the agents of our own. A transformation gives you immense power. It is often grossly underestimated. The key is to learn how to rely on the way you accept it, the pace of our progress, and to see the value of each step, even if it seems small or insignificant at the time. After all, that's the beauty of the day. It is made of moments, of choices, and the discovery that, together, they form a mosaic of a life that is truly aligned with our essence is pure. He comments that, "It makes no sense to me. I now want to go more in depth on this topic. Because you are, in fact, the confidence in the path. It is not something that is born out of the day to the night, not a matter of willpower or an easy change of mind. It is an inner transformation, a sort of a wake-up call that is when we begin to look beyond the surface, beyond the temporal world to us. It is as though, all of a sudden, people started to realize that the search for quick results, by instant messaging, it often takes us away from the true essence of what you want to build. So, at this point, it enters one of the major revelations of the impact that our everyday decisions have on our journey of self-discovery. Each and every small choice, every action we take, whether it be related to that of the routine and the way that we see for the challenge, or even our own limitations, and is shaping our history in a way that a lot of times we can't even imagine. It is a process of construction, to be silent, to what happens behind the scenes in our minds and in our hearts. When we begin to understand this, it becomes all the more clear to you. We realize that what really matters is not the speed at which we are advancing, but the intensity with which we live every moment of authenticity and presence. And here, you will see a whole new perspective of our authenticity is our greatest strength. Why? When we connect with what our true selves, stripped of their masks and the expectations of the outside, we begin to attract those experiences that really resonate with our purpose. In this connection, a genuine, working as a bridge between what we want and what we really are capable of performing, creating synchronicity, which many of the times it feels like magic, but it is, in fact, the result of a journey of self-discovery and acceptance. It is at this point that reliance on the path to become stronger, because you realize that it all makes perfect sense, even though the journey is full of turns, obstacles, and uncertainties. And it is for this reason that an understanding of the impact of our decision-making, it is as powerful as it is. Because when you understand the effect that each and every action of our evolution, we begin to act with more awareness. We went to the question of whether our choices are truly aligned with our values and dreams of the most in-depth, or if you're just going with the flow, for the convenience, or the fear of the unknown. This awareness leads to a change in mindset, a shift in focus that emphasizes the journey, the lessons learned, and all the small victories that day. And in doing so, our day-to-day becomes more and more light to take care of most of us. Now, I want you to go even deeper on this subject, because, in essence, all of the confidence in the path, it also involves a broader understanding that life's a dance-off between control and surrender. There is a delicate balance between the plan and giving up, between the act and trust in the universe that's going to pull out for our rope, you in the right direction, even if not often we get to see what's to come. It is a continuous learning process that, to break out of the fear of losing control, we create the space for things to fit together in a way that it is not always possible to foresee it, but it always makes sense in the end. This is the connection to our deeper truth that causes us to see the impact of our decisions go far beyond what we can measure. They will shape not only our present, but also for what we are building for the future, by influencing those around us. Because as we become more and more aware of the choices we make, we become examples for the authenticity, courage, and transformation. And so each and every step, however small it may seem to you, it becomes a very important part in the mosaic of the life that is aligned with our essence. It is a journey of discovery, constance, where each and every moment is an opportunity to learn, to discuss, and strengthen the connection with what really matters to you. And when you think about all of this, it becomes clear that the real difference lies in our ability to keep the faith in the process, and to believe that the universe conspires to help those who put their trust in your own journey. One day, even though it seems to be uncertain at times, it is made up of the signs and know-how that takes us closer than ever to the truth. Each and every decision, no matter how simple it may seem, it is like a seed planted in the fertile soil of the transformation, which is an origin of the time, the patience, and the certainty of it, the way it always tells us what we need at just the right time. And then, when you realize all of this, we understand that true strength comes from within, from the mind mind that believes, that stands up to any difficulties, and above all, with respect to the pace of our progress. He comments that, "It makes no sense to me. If you've come this far, it's because you in any way connected with such a message, and maybe even found a little bit of clarity to move forward." The journey of transformation is an ongoing process. With each step, however small it may seem, it has its value. So, if that kind of content, it made sense to you, just leave a comment saying, "I'm with you till the end of love." Therefore, we are unable to exchange experiences and to strengthen that connection. If you like what you heard, don't leave it to the one you like. It will help to spread this message to more and more people who are also looking for a reflection like. It is a way of showing that your content makes sense as part of its growth, and it is very important to you. After all, when we connect the way that's genuine, it's a lighter, more natural. And of course, I want to invite you to continue with me for the next videos. It has a side which complements this subject matter, and it can't help you further on this journey. Click there, and to come together to explore new ideas and opportunities for learning. After all, this is a journey of self-discovery is never ending, and every step is an opportunity to grow and develop and be strengthened even more. I hope to see you there. See you soon.